Maybe I'm just not on my game. Anyways, this is the in-game build segment series I was talking about a month ago when I released all those different major Witch Doctor builds. We got Jerome, we got Helltooth, we got Jade Set, we also got Carnival, and we also got Tall Man's Finger. We have all these guides, and a lot of them were showed at Torment level 3. Now I want to show you the in-game look of basically what happens when you get most of the items you need for these builds and how to run them at T6. And of course, as you remember before, we were running the Helltooth set at T3. Just to start off the fact, the main thing I noticed with Helltooth set is that the 6-piece set is kind of lackluster, but the 4-piece set is actually phenomenal. So in the in-game build version for the Helltooth set, we're actually only running 3 pieces. Well, one with the Rollringer Grandor to get the 4-piece bonus, which gives us a 2-second cooldown reduction on Wall of Zombies. Just so I can let you guys know that I will not be using the full 6-piece set, because with the 6-piece set, that kind of constricts us off of running Jerome and Tasker and Theo, which is very strong. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the build. We have Jerome's and we have Tasker and Theo, increased pet damage and increased pet damage attack speed. We also have Ogdal's Power with increased zombie dog damage that's going to combo in with the Tall Man's Finger. We also have Ogdal's Search, which is basically going to combo in with the Ogdal's Power or Authority set. That's going to give us the extra damage versus elites and also reduction from them. We have a typical Helltooth piece on the chest, the pants, and also the shoes. I'd like to get this eventually with how do you say, zombie dog damage. I have one inside the inventory or inside my stash that I'm currently working on right now. Let me see where it's at. There it is, and I'm trying to get that I got it with Fetish Army damage, but I need to get it with Zombie Dog damage, so that'll be close. And I have the Fleeting Strap Belt because it provides me good toughness and also gives me that increased attack speed. Let me see, other than that, I mean, I got the Zunimasa offhand because it has increased Zombie Dog damage, but I mean, you probably would want to use a Thing of the Deep or whatever offhand that you enjoy using. And besides all that, we got the Rhino Flailer for the controlling aspect of Addling Toads, and plus just with this weapon combined with Fetish Sycophant's passive, it makes it so we generate a lot of fetishes. For a little bit more DPS and oomph, we got the Tall Man's Finger working with the zombie dogs on, of course, Lifelink. And let me see here. Of course, we have the Golden Gorget of Leoric Trifecta. Like I said before in the other video, I'm trying to re-roll this necklace to at least about 95% critical damage or higher. Then I'll have a nice physical necklace that will go well with the build. The whole build is pretty much running physical property, except for the exclusion of the Addling Toads, and the Gargantuan. Gargantuan on Alpha Protector, I like to use him a lot in these builds as the elite killer because he does so much damage and he combos well with Big Bad Voodoo. Also, the Addling Toads, even though they're poisoned, the main aspect of this is with the Rhino Flailer, it makes the toads go through the target and explode on the second target, and combine that with the fact that it can have a chance to confuse the attracted enemy. It's very powerful when combined with Wall of Zombies Wrecking Crew, which is going to be a Wazar Zombie wall that's reduced from 8 seconds down to 6 seconds, and that's also, I'm sorry, how do you say, providing that extra element of control and making it so we can provide that utility for our groups, because the zombie walls with Wrecking Crew is probably one of the strongest utility spells in the game. You cast it, it blocks the target from coming after you, and then plus they're actually taunted to actually attack the zombie wall instead of you. Spirit Walk, for defensive purposes, is pretty much straightforward. Zombie Dog's lifelink, so when we take damage, they take damage. Gargantuan, Big Bad Voodoo, that's going to be our elite killer and help our fetishes out, do that extra damage when we go versus elites. Pierce the Veil for extra damage. We're not using a lot of mana, so we're not taking really any type of negative like debuff on this one. Fetish Sycophants, which basically you have a 10% chance of summoning a dagger-wielding fetish to fight by your side when you actually land damage. Now, if you're not using a Rhino Flailer, it will dramatically drop by a lot. If you're not using Rhino Flailer, you need to use Reign of Toads. But since we have the Rhino Flailer, Ailing Toads, fantastic, works out quite well. Zombie Handler, because it gives more extra HP to our Gargantuan and ourselves too, plus gives us additional zombie dog with ups the DPS of Tall Man's Finger, and plus when we tie that in with Midnight Feast, that increases the damage of the Gargantuan and the zombie dog and gives us another zombie dog on top of that. We just have a pretty much a big Gargantuan zombie dog that does pretty good damage. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Act 1 here. And let me see here. Summon our zombie dog, and we'll also, well, that's all we have for right now. Now, a lot of people don't like the Hell 2 set, or a lot of people say that it's pretty much lackluster. I would say at low-level tournament, the 6-piece set is actually very viable and works out very good and provides a lot of utility in your party, especially if you start combining it with things of like Grave Injustice to reduce the cooldown further of the zombie wall and what things have you not. What you have to really realize is I think Helltooth was meant to be more of like a utility kind of build, like a utility DPS type of spec. I've actually started running with the Rhino Flailer and with the Zombie Wall. I just really feel that it's a good build to have in case if you want to still do DP, if you still want to do good damage, or basically you want damage and you want utility. So yeah, you may not do as much damage as Drum or as much as Jade set, but with the combined efforts of the Adeling Toads and also the Zombie Wall, not only can you taunt most monsters to where you want them to be, but you can also use the Rhino Flailer with the Alien Toe, as you just saw right there, to confuse the elites and actually crowd control them. So when you ask yourself, well, why should I be running what's a good incentive of running the Health 2 set? The biggest thing is probably just the ability to produce a decent amount of damage, but also while maintaining a sense of control on the field of play, which is very valuable. Sometimes you get into rifts and you get bombarded by tons of elites or tons of monsters. And sure, Zombie Wall can't really taunt the elites, but it can block off the path from them coming directly at you. The Adeline Toads can CC on the elites, so that works out quite well. And then all trash mobs are pretty much going to get locked down by Zombie Wall, because as soon as they try to get close to you, the Zombie Wall will taunt them towards them, and then you pretty much have nothing to worry about. Zombie Wall lasts out for 4 seconds. The cooldown of the Zombie Wall is 6 seconds, so you'll have 2 seconds in between of time where the mob will actually try to get to you. But if you're combining it with the Adeling Toads and the Rhino Flailer, it's really pretty much hard for them to get anywhere closer to you or get be able to get to your proximity and do a lot of the damage that they want to do, or basically hurt you. And basically between running the Ailing Toads and running the Zombie Wall, you provide a lot of control in the environment, and you make it a lot easier for your cohorts or your party or even by yourself to not get instant gib by a lot of things that were designed to basically instant gib you. Whether you be in a rift and you open up a door and there's a ton of trash monsters there, you can drop the Zombie Walls to taunt everything. Or whether you get 2 of the Arcanauts and the angels that are called, the ones that dive at you like crazy peoples. If you actually have the Adeling Toads out, you'd be surprised how long they can actually be CC for, or how much control you can put actually over them, because the Adeling Toads affects elites and trash mobs. So I've been enjoying the build a lot. It's a pretty laid-back build, as you can see. I really don't have much to worry about. As long as I keep up the Alien Toads, I produce the fetishes. And as long as I keep using the Zombie Wall, I really don't got much to worry about. I just gotta watch it out sometimes on elites. But between the Alien Toads, confusing the elites and special monsters, and then also my toughness that I have inside my gear, and the dog taking the damage for me, and Big Bad Voodoo to help me move along, as you can see, the Zombie Wall with Helltooth is really not that bad. Now, some people could argue too, hey Debo, well, why even run Zombie Wall? What's the point of it? You can just basically just run Adeling Toads. And I'll say, yeah, that's true. But like I said, the nicest thing about it is that when I combine it with the Zombie Wall and low cooldown, and not to mention that Zombie Wall is actually physical damage, the thing that I enjoy is this. They complement each other very well. You get 100% or pretty much a high percent control over any type of battle in the game, excluding bosses, of course, and it just feels right. They complement each other so well. The Rhino Flailer with the Toads that confuse, and then also with the Zombie Wall, you can bring a lot of utility to your group. You can make things a lot easier, so people are not necessarily catching too much heat from elites or things would have that much nature. Or maybe you're just seeing the elites so much with the Adeling Toads, or using your Zombie Wall to taunt on the trash mobs that your team doesn't have to worry about that. Plus, the nice thing about that with the Zombie Wall is when you're casting Zombie Wall and the trash mobs get actually attracted to it, that means they're not going to be fighting your fetishes, which are already kind of not necessarily weak, but the ones from the passive do have a tendency of dying really easily, even though you can just reproduce them over and over again. Alright, so let's go ahead and head over to the next area. Probably, where's the boss at? I'm trying to think here. Halls of Agony, probably the Butcher. So we'll make our way over to the Butcher. So one other positive thing about it, running the Hell 2 set is too, I think Blizzard is probably going to look into the set, because the set is not running as Well, usually the way Blizzard balances is this. We know they're making changes to a lot of the set items, such as the the Invoker and some of the monk sets. I think they're even making some changes to like the sets for the wizard as well too. So I'm pretty confident at some point they're going to revisit the Health 2 set and make it, I guess, no, I don't want to say make it lack more. They're going to go back, and I really think they're going to buff it to the point where they're going to encourage a lot more people to actually run the build. So if you have something like that right now, at least for the Hell 2 set pieces, and you have the Tasker and Jerome, and you have Rhino Flare, this might be an option for you in case what you basically want to run and what you want to do. And then when they retroactively buff the Hell 2 set, you're going to benefit from that as well too, because whatever they buff to the Hell 2 set, it's going to improve it, because when you have something that's kind of at the bottom of the barrel, there's really no other place to go but up. And like I said, even now the Hell 2 set is really not too bad, and I really think they intended it to be that utility DPS spec so that a Witch Doctor can come to a party and just help control things from getting out of hand. Now, with the 6-piece set, I'm still experimenting to see what most I can get out of that, but the reason I dropped down to the 4-piece set is just, in all honesty, I'd rather run Jerome with Task and Theo than to run with just only Jerome. The increased attack speed does a lot of extra damage because their pets are attacking faster, and then of course you don't want to give up Jerome because Jerome's a pretty solid option. It gives them a lot of increased damage to our pets, and it affects all the fetishes. Now, one person did say, "Hey Debo, why don't you use it with the Grim Reaper? Can't the wouldn't that be like one of the best if you're actually running with the 6-piece set?" And now with the 6-piece set, it allows your zombie wall to actually spew out acid damage that is actually physical. And if that was possible, that'd be great if it could work with Grim Reaper. But unfortunately, Grim Reaper is not allowed to cast zombie wall. And I was actually contemplating and wondering, like, okay, well, if it can't cast a zombie wall, then what's the whole purpose of it? Or what's the point? But then when I really started thinking about it, you know, if you had the mimics on the Grim Reaper actually have the ability to cast zombie wall, that pretty much would be pretty crazy, because they would have so many different zombie walls on the field of play. Combine that with Wrecking Crew and the fact that the acid damage would be there too, it might be a little bit too powerful. But that might be something that Blizzard wants to actually might have to buff or do, or maybe incorporate zombie wall into that, or they may or may not, or maybe they have some other plans for it. But at least running the 4-piece set or the 3-piece set with World Ring of Grandeur to get the 4-piece set and have the cooldown reduction for your zombie wall, it makes your life a lot easier. Now, one thing you could do is that you could not actually use a sycophant skill. You can actually swap that out and go maybe Grave Injustice, so you even have a lower cooldown on the zombie wall, and then use Summon Fetish Army instead. You know, and then you can go down that lines and have the increased Fetish Army damage. But the main reason why I chose to go with the ones that are generated from the passive is because I wanted to put all my damage on the zombie dog, because the zombie dog brings a lot of good sustained DPS to the build, which is something I do enjoy, and makes things a lot easier in boss fights and elites fights. Now, if you want to run instead the zombie dog, the fire dog, that's perfectly acceptable, because even though you're not using physical property, it wouldn't be utilizing the physical damage you have into the build. The Jerome and a Tasker and Theo, I mean, that's automatically make the dog hit really hard, and then plus on top of that, the AoE damage of the fire dog would actually help increase a lot of damage going on to clearing times out faster for the trash mobs and what have you not. So we got the event here. Hopefully I don't get a little bit too bombarded, but I think I should be okay, because the one thing I noticed about running the Hell 2 set with the Rhino Flailer, the zombie wall, is that for the most part, as long as you keep the zombie wall next to you and you're running the alien toads for confusion, as you can see, most of the monsters will never get to me. Not to mention just because my pets are killing everything pretty quickly, but the alien toads seek out the targets, the zombie wall taunts all the monsters there. And for the most part, I usually don't have to worry too much about the trash mobs ever getting to me or anything like that. I usually have to watch out more for what the elites do. Sometimes they do some crazy stuff like, you know, Thunderstorm or the mortar attacks and things like that. But I mean, it's all pretty much manageable, as you see. Most of the mobs are getting confused. Zombie wall's taunting everything away for me. And I really don't ever have to worry too much about putting my life in danger as compared to some of the other builds like Jade said, or like with Jerome. But then again, like as always, you can just run the Unity set or do something along those lines. You might have to give up Tall Man's Finger, so if you want to get a lot of damage reduction that way, or like I said before, you could be inside of a party with somebody else who can be tanking all the mobs for you, and also make it so that you're not in harm's way. But I mean, between the zombie wall with Wrecking Crew, and then also the ability with the Rhino Flailer with Adeling Toads, and also where was I going with this? My brain, it is like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm so confused right now. Rhino Flailer, Adeling Toads, Zombie Wall with Wrecking Crew. That is more than enough CC. And to keep you alive and away from things that will hurt you. Not to mention our zombie dog is going to be taking 10% of all our damage. And if you wanted to run like a Ukapin Serpent, that'd probably be even more optimal. The reason I don't run it because I don't have a Ukapin Serpent with the increased zombie dog damage, but between the zombie dog, your control elements with the zombie wall, and the Adeling Tones of the Rhino Flailer, you can bring a good amount of damage. You can clear T6 very comfortably, like stress-free. You could bring a lot of utility to the parties and what have you not. And, you know, I don't think all is lost for the Health 2 set. I do agree they do need to buff it on the 6-piece bonus. They got to do something about that. Or maybe they might buff Zombie Wall just in general. So I'm looking forward to the future of the Health 2 set and how Blizzard's going to change it. But at least for now, hey, if I'm running a semi-decent DPS / really strong utility build that brings a lot of crowd control and a lot of control into our groups or even by myself, for a build as just in general as the Health 2 set, it's pretty solid. It could do T6 comfortably. It farms easily, as you just saw. It crowd controls a bunch of the monsters. You don't have to stress too much about things coming right after you. Alien Toes control the elites. Zombie Wall controls the trash. And you have plenty of bursts between having the 15 fetishes with the Raffle Protector and Big Bad Voodoo. So overall, I think it's a very fun and interesting build to run towards the end game for Witch Doctors. And I think it is very strong if you combine it with other, you know, strong legendaries and what have you not. And it's just something cool that you can bring to your group. So if you have some of this gear laying around or you have a Hell 2 set, I would say try it out, see how you like it when you're in groups with the Rhino Flailer. And or you know, when you're soloing by yourself, if you want to not have to worry about threading the needle and dying every second or running around like a crazy man and dodging everything, this might be something up in your alley. If you just like to farm at a nice rate, you don't have to worry about getting blown up by random monsters, and you just want to just, you know, farm at an okay efficient rate for your level of play. Or if you prefer, you can always, like I said, they got Jerome, they got Jade Set, they got Tall Man's. There's a lot of other different ways you can do it, but I've been having a lot of fun running this build personally myself. But anyways, as always, I appreciate you guys for checking out my videos. Thank you for viewing the in-game video series. I got about 3 to 4 more videos coming out. Actually, let me think. We did the Hell 2 video, we did the Jerome video. I'm going to do another Jerome video with generating the fetishes for the in-game build series. I'm going to do the Jade set with Cold. Probably might do the Jade set with Poison. Carnival with and without Tall Man, because I actually have a Carnival build with Tall Man's Finger and without. And then pretty much a pure Tall Man's Finger build. So, as I always say, I'm Debo, and I'm out. Later.